Good evening. Today's Chumash, today's portion, we are holding now Bereshis, Genesis chapter 23, Perach of Gimel. This is the second day, Yom Sheni Chof Beis Mar Cheshvan. The pasuk says, "Vayakom stay Ephraim asher b'machpelah." So now Avram Avinu, as we learned, bought the field, purchased the field, the Maras HaMachpelah from Ephraim, and the pasuk says, and the field of Ephraim literally means it got up. Asher b'machpelah, which was on the Machpelah, Asher lifnei Mamre, which was established in front of Mamre, Hasada, this is the field, V'hamor Asher boy, and the cave that was within it, V'chol ha'etz Asher basada, and all the trees that were in the field, Asher b'chol gvulei saviv, which were within the entire border around it. So the pasuk is telling us that the field, which was in the Machpelah facing Mamre, was established. Now that he gave the money, was established as Avram's possessions. Rashi says, what does it mean? Vayakom stay Ephraim. What does it mean? And the field of Ephraim was established. Vayakom literally means it got up. What does it mean? It got up. Tkuma hisaloi. It experienced an elevation. Sheyotza miyad hedyet miyad melech. The first thing is that when Avram Avinu gave the money, what does it mean? It got up. It arose. It experienced an elevation, meaning it left the possession of a simple person and went in the possession of the Yad HaMelech, in the possession of a king. This was, of course, Avram Avinu. That's why the Torah uses the expression of Vayakom. Pshutish HaMikra, the simple meaning of the pasuk is Vayakom Hasada V'Hamora Asher Boi V'Chol Ha'etz LaAvram L'Mikna. The simple explanation is, and the field and the cave that was within and all the trees were established to Avram as a possession, etc. Now, very, very interesting lesson that Rebbe points out. Vayakom stay Ephraim. So Rashi says that just the fact that he bought the land, just the fact that a tzaddik bought this land, tkuma hisalo, that it had an elevation. What does it mean it had an elevation? That it went miyad hedyet liyad melech. It went from a simple person to a king. Now, which we see that the actual field, even before Sarah was buried over there, the actual field had a elevation. So that's, the Rebbe was talking then to Shluchim that were going out as emissaries, Shluchim going out on a mission to make the world preparing for Mashiach, as the Rebbe's mission was. So he says that he was talking to the Shluchim that we see by Avram Avinu, the fact that he just took over the land even before he buried Sarah, already elevated the land. So the Shliach being there, or every person is a Shliach, is a special emissary that he has to go out to make the world a better place. So just the fact that him going out, even before he starts his avodah in the town or in the city or in the country, wherever he is, that actual just leaving there, being there, brings an elevation to the land. Okay, pasuk Yurches LaAvram leMikne leEnei bnei Ches. Now Avram, his possession, he did this so nobody should have any error, nobody should have any complaints. He did this leEnei bnei Ches, in the eyes of all the sons of Ches. B'chol boi shar irei, in the presence of all who had come within the gate of the city. What does that mean? Rashi says, B'chol shar irei, b'kerev kulam, u'b'mamet kulam hikno lo, which means, in the midst of them, and the presence of all, he made sure that Ephraim sold him the field. Pasuk Chitas. V'achrechin cover Avram es Sarah yishtei. Afterwards, Avram buried Sarah, his wife. Where El Oras stay Machpelah Asher Apnei Mamre hi Chevron. He buried Sarah in the cave of the field of Machpelah facing Mamre, which is in Chevron. Where? Be'eretz Canaan, in the land of Eretz Yisrael. Pasachav Vayakom Asad of Amor Asher Boi LaAvram Nachuzas Kover Me'es Bnei Ches, in the field and the cave that were within it were established to Avram as a burial property, purchased from who? The sons of Ches. Perek Chavdal, chapter 24, Pasuk Aleph. Avram Zokin, Avram was old, Ba Bayamim, he was advanced in his days. Hashem Beirach es Avram Bakel, and Hashem blessed Avram with everything. Beirach es Avram Bakol, Rashi says, Bakol Oile Begematria Ben. The word Bakol is has the numerical equal to Ben, son. Meaning, Ben, since Avram Avinu was blessed with a son, he had to find a wife for Yitzchak. Avram said to a servant who was the elder of his house, who ruled over that what was his. What do you say? Place your hand under my thigh. Rashi's kan beisai, lefishu dovig nokud zokin. Since the word zokin is in a construct state, its vowels as zekan. Tachas yorechi, under my thigh. Since one who swears must take with his hand an article related to a mitzvah, could go in, for example, Sefer Torah or Tefillin. When somebody swears, so what's the din? He has to hold either a Sefer Torah or Tefillin. Now, so why did Avram command Eliezer to hold his milah, to hold his circumcision? The circumcision was the first mitzvah that Hashem commanded Avram. And it came to him with pain. It was dear to him, so that's why he said to Eliezer to make sure to, when you swear to me, to hold the thigh, because this was the mitzvah, that the only mitzvah that he was commanded since then, and it was very dear to Avram. What did he command him? He said like this. Number one, vashpi'acha, and you should swear. Ba'Hashem lekei hashamayim, you should swear by Hashem, your Hashem in the heavens. But lekei haaretz, and Hashem, who's the Hashem of the earth. You're not going to take for my son a wife from the Knani woman, in whose midst I dwell. You shall go to my land and to my birthplace. And you shall take a wife for my son. Now, it's very interesting. Another point, another sikha that Rebbe points out, that the first shlichus you find in Torah was the shlichus that Avram appointed Eliezer. Now, what was his first mission that the Torah recounts? Is children, is to have pru revu. And as it says, Kol hamalam is ben chaver Torah ma'alav b'kasav kili yiladi. It says that, what does it mean having children? Having children, there's physical children, and then there's teaching children. So the first shlichus in the Torah that Avram tells us, or tells Eliezer, is that they should have a wife, marriage. What's the idea of marriage? Is to have children. So there's physical children, then there's spiritual children that one should take upon himself to teach Torah and to make... Now, just like Avram Avinu sent Eliezer, his servant, to Charan. What's Charan? Charan af shel makom be'elam. So too, a person has to go to people who are empty of Torah and mitzvahs in order to find other Yidden and to bring them close to Aviniyam Shebashamayim. Pasik, hey. So the servant said to him, perhaps the woman will not wish to go after to this land. Shall I return to your son to the land from which you came? And Avram said, be very careful, lest you return my son back over there. Pasuk Zayin, Hashem Elekei Hashamayim, Hashem, the God of heavens, who took me from my father's house, and from my birthplace. And he spoke to me and he swore to me, saying, to your seed will I give this land of Eretz Yisrael. So what did he say to Eliezer? Hu yishlach malochi lefanecha. He will send his angel before you. And you shall take a wife for my son from there. Rashi says, now, but he did not say, and the God of the earth, whereas above, which we just learned in Pasuk Gimel, he just says, and I will swear by the God of the heaven and the God of the earth. Why doesn't he mention anything about earth? So he says like this, he said to him, now he's the God of the heaven and the God of the earth, because I made him familiar in the mouths of the people. Now he's speaking about when I was taken from my father's house, he was only Hashem in heavens. Why? But he was not the God in the earth. Because mankind did not acknowledge him, and his name was not familiar on the earth. What does it mean? Avi from Charan, from Or Kazdim. Ashir di b'li, who spoke to me. As she says, what does that mean? Lit Sarki, li means concerning me. Kumay Asher Diber Alai, like it says Asher Diber, who spoke concerning me. V'chein kol li v'loy v'lahem asmuchim eitzel dibar muflashim b'lashon al. Similarly, every li, loy, and lahem used in conjunction with the verb diber, speak, means to interpret it in the sense of al, which means like concerning. V'tagim shalahem alai aloy alehain, and the Aramaic translation is alai alohi alehain. She'neifel eitzel diber lashon li v'loy lahem. For in conjunction with diber, the term of the use of the terms li, loy, and lahem is inappropriate. Elo ilaya elav aleim b'tagim shalem ami imi mehen. So rather elai elav alehem are to be used in the Aramaic translation is imoy and imi ami av esamir neifel lashon li v'lei lahem. However, for following the expression amira, the terms of li v'lei lahem are appropriate. Asherish bali bein absarim, who swore to me when, as last week's parsha or 2 weeks ago, at the covenant between bein absarim. Pasuk Ches. Pasuk says, and if the woman will not wish to go after you, vinikisa mishuasi azeis, you will be absolved from my oath. Rak as beni loy toshiv shama. Only do not return my son back there. Rashi says, "V'nikesi mishwasi v'kach le'ishim b'mreis oner eshko mamre." If you don't find where I'm telling you to find the woman, don't go back to where I told you not to go. Rather, take a woman from the daughters of oner eshko mamre. Rak is b'ni, rak miyatu. When we say rak, this is restrictive. B'ni eni chayzer, which means that my son will not return. But Yankiv ben b'ni yosef al-aser, Yaakov, my grandson, will ultimately return over there. Pasuk Tes, v'yasam ha'eved asyodei tachas yerach Avram adoinov. And Eliezer placed his hand under the thigh of Avram, and Vayishav, he swore to him al davar hazeh, concerning this matter.